Hey everybody, it's Kay Gray. I wanted to talk about the idea of framing and labels, which is something that, especially in recent years, people seem to say, uh, I don't. I don't I don't ascribe to labels. I don't like labels. I want to be a free person. And the thing is that you can't separate yourself from the idea of labels, and it's because of the concept of framing. Your brain actually requires a frame in order to categorize anything. And if you don't categorize things, uh, it takes too much brain power in order to manage an idea. Um, Ideas that aren't properly categorized actually make us confused and take up so much brain energy that you can, experience brain fog. And it's very hard to make decisions about the thing if you don't know, if you don't have a clear frame around it. So, what framing does is literally like creates a container around an idea or thought or a person or an object, and you put things in it that belong to that thing, and then you also categorize things that don't belong to that thing. And that frame is totally malleable, and it's actually really useful to be able to move it around because that's part of neuroplasticity. Our brains can both harm and heal us based on the frame that we're carrying around certain things. So we have things like self-esteem or the way that we think of a family member. And those are really important things. Those are really important ideas. And we carry around all the time. And it's always changing. But we do have a set, collection of things that we think about ourselves. Like we're good at basketball or, really good at art, but terrible at swimming, whatever it is. And that it is malleable, but it's still important to have that, because if you think of, let's say, going out to dinner, and you really have if there's no frame around it, if there's no labels around it, then you don't know what to expect. You don't know if it's gonna taste good. If you don't know if it's gonna be too expensive. You don't know if you're gonna have a panic attack because there's too many people. Like, you have to have that box in order for your brain to function. That's literally how our brains are made, is to create shortcuts, because we can't constantly be analyzing every piece of information that's available to us. We have to save that brain energy for other things. So labels are actually really, really important. And I would encourage you that rather than saying you don't like labels, create new ones and restructure old ones that you're not happy with. But if you just say, for example, you say, I need a job, and someone asks you, what can you do? And you say everything. Well, that's too many choices, and that's too difficult for that person to know where to put you. But if you say, I'm a house cleaner, or I'm a graphic designer, that creates an instant frame, and that person knows instantly whether, not always instantly, but a lot faster, whether or not you would be good at, like, you have a useful skill set that they would like to utilize. But if you were to say, I like sitting at a computer and moving the mouse to click places, and eventually I get really colorful shapes, like, that's a no label. Even though all those words are labels, right? So you're still creating shortcuts, but that takes a lot longer for you to explain and a lot longer for someone to understand. And I get what you're saying in terms of, like, sometimes labels are outdated, and I'm like, absolutely. Language is always changing. Our ideas are always changing. But that framing is really, really key to how the basic fundamental way that our brains save energy. So if you don't like a label, use a different one. Make a new one. But if you want to get your point across, you're going to have to use shortcuts that people understand. Otherwise, you're going to waste a lot of energy of your own and of other people's before you get to a point where there's real communication going on. So, and then in terms of reframing, a big thing in CBT therapy is like questioning your assumptions about yourself and questioning your thoughts about yourself. And so a lot of us carry around negative self-labels like I'm not good at this, or, I'm bad, or I'm mentally ill. And those things may be true, but carrying that label around, carrying that frame around, like negative self-framing doesn't usually help us move forward. So you can reframe it and say, these are the things I'm good at. These are things that I'm grateful for. And what happens is your body literally rewards you for positive labeling of yourself, of your community, of what you're doing. The more you label your experience in positive ways, the more your limbic system responds, the more your neurotransmitters respond. Like, for real, there's like a natural built-in high off of positive thinking. So that's not to say that we shouldn't address things that are challenging and process them. That's absolutely part of it as well. But there comes a point where you've collected too many negative thoughts and now it's just dragging you down. So being able to recognize that, wow, I've, fallen over into the like every day is dark and I can't climb out. Just even starting with like small bits of gratitude will help your body and your mind literally heal. Like your brain will heal and your body will heal. Your cells restructure themselves. And little by little, it gives you more energy to be able to climb out of that dark space. It's a slow process and it requires social supports. You can't do it on your own. So therapy helps, friends help, going to school might help. It depends. Like, everybody needs different things, but it is possible to reframe a really negative situation into something that is healing and productive. So I hope you are all enjoying your lovely day, and happy fall.